All right, everybody, welcome in. Once again, I'm your host, Aaron May. We're at the Extra Rvrb Podcast. We've got an amazing episode for you guys today. We are sitting down with this gentleman. He is a local entrepreneur. He's a philanthropist. He's all over the place. He founded Aginto. It is an unbelievable marketing company here in Sarasota. I'll let him tell you about it. Chris Williams, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming out. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about the storm. Glad everybody did okay, and everybody else out there, we hope you're doing okay. If you need any help, any relief, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help, here to provide support for those who need it. Chris, for the people, we've talked a little bit. You know, we had coffee a couple weeks ago. You're a very interesting guy, so I knew I had to have you on the show.
Appreciate it.
Tell the people that don't know who you are a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where do you come from?
I come from Cincinnati, Ohio, in the great state of Ohio. I got down here in South Florida 20 years ago ish. So I got
so you're
thin
Floridian
blood.
now.
Yeah, I got the thin blood now. You know? 2011, I started my my business. You know, we're a digital agency back then. I don't even know what I called it. The industry has kind of changed and evolved. It seems to evolve every day. But 2011, I started it as just a one-man band. You know, it was just honestly, it was what kids today would call like a side hustle. You know, like I was like, oh, I got something here. Let me see if I can make a little extra coin. And you know, I got a night shift job at the Goodwill to make ends meet, and I ran the quote unquote business during the day. And one client turned to 2, turned to 10, turned to 20, and you know, probably about a year into it, I was like, I don't necessarily need this night shift job anymore.
Job, yeah. As soon as possible.
Yeah, exactly. So I, you know, bet on myself, and you know, God's been good to me. The community's been good to me. So quit that job and ran full steam ahead with Aginto. And probably about 2014, I started to volunteer. You know, find volunteer initiatives in the community, and been doing that ever since. I try to give back as much as I can.
Love that. So just there already, I got so many questions.
All right, fair enough.
But when you got the idea, this is the first company that you tried to start, or was this the one? So back when you say you were working in the night house, you got this. Was this the first time you tried something like this? And
no. So I think I've always had the bug, right? Like I remember my first apartment. I moved out. I was 19, and it had a garage, and I would buy CD players. I'm old. So I'm gonna age myself.
I know what a CD is.
I'm gonna age myself. I would buy car CD players from a buddy of mine. He worked at like a repo lot or junkyard or whatever. So I'd buy these aftermarket decks and sell them to friends, and I would charge them to install it. And I would just sit in my garage, you know, install a CD player or whatever, you know, speakers and amps and stuff like that. And I never looked at it as a business. It was just, you know, making a little extra money. Yeah, whatever. So I think I've always kind of had the bug. But no, I tried to start like a basketball league down here in Florida years ago, and you know, wasn't a lot of money in it. It was difficult to manage, and so it's like, I'm not going to do that anymore. But I've always had the itch, and you know, truth be told, 2011, my back was just kind of up against the wall, and I said, well, I've got this, I've got that. Let me, you know, in my position, I knew how to code a little bit. You know? So I had that going for me, and I had some dress clothes. And an old laptop, and I mean like it was a ThinkPad. You remember they had the mouse, the dot, you know? Like, It was old as dirt.
The IBM.
Yeah, IBM ThinkPad. It was old as dirt, but it worked. And I was like, yeah, let me just see if I can make this work. And you know, sure enough, it worked.
Interesting. So when it's funny, most of the people that I talk to, it's always the best things come when their back's against the wall.
Yeah.
That's such a common theme.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think it gets talked about how deep you have to go into that. So when you said you were working the night shift, what gave you the idea for this? You said you knew to code a little bit now. Like when you say a little bit, where did you learn that? Because what I know about coding was like making my MySpace page cool. Like
my MySpace page was great.
That was how I knew that. That was all the coding I knew.
I learned a little HTML like literally in high school, maybe even a little before it, just informally. You know, a little class here, class there. But right before I started the business, I was working with a company that did online menus. Okay. So like this was back when your Pizza Hut and your Domino's had online ordering. That was about it. Okay. And so the company would basically go into restaurants and say, hey, you don't have this, competition does. Why don't you let us build you an online menu? Yeah. All you gotta do is process the payments through us, which that's how they made their money. But I was the coder. So I would get their menu and I would design a HTML, a web version of their menu that people could add things to the cart, check out, and then they would get a notification. Online ordering. Now it's, it's so easy now.
Uber, DoorDash, it's all.
Right. But 15 years ago, like.
Mind-blowing, right?
Exactly.
Like selling books online.
Right. Yeah. Who knew, right? But yeah, they got acquired and I did not. I didn't own the company, so just kind of, that's when my back was just up against the wall. And I had already spent, a year helping them find new clients. We would go literally business to business.
Sure.
And we'd knock on doors and get thrown out of places. And for every 5 or 6 no, we'd get, oh, tell me more. So I was like, all right, I could slang websites. I could sell websites, and that's just kind of how I started it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of what gave you the idea of I can do this on a scale for other people. Now, when you first started it, what was the premise? Was it always just, we're going to help people market online? Or what was the original idea?
It was only web dev, and it was only just to make ends meet. It was just to make extra money. I'll tell you, I was about 2 years into this business, and I'd already quit the night shift job at this point, but I was driving along I-75. I remember, I'll never forget, I was right at the Fruitville exit. The Fruitville Road Library is right there, and I was on the phone with a guy, and I had this old beat up car, and the tires were so loud. They were so loud, man. Cheap tires, and I couldn't hear the client. And so I took the exit, I pulled into the library, I got out of my car and finished my conversation. I go to get back in my running vehicle and the doors are locked.
Oh gosh.
Right? And bro, I'm just barely making ends meet, that gas was precious.
Yeah.
So I remember I grabbed my phone and I did a Google search, mobile locksmith.
Okay.
And the first guy that came up, I don't even remember him, but his website looked like hell. It just looked real bad. Yep. He had this big shiny click to call button right at the top. I clicked to call. He came out. He solved my problem, and he got my money. And I remember driving away from that experience it really doesn't matter if you've got some Mac Daddy website. If you've got a professional site, great,
of course,
cool. But as long as the phone rings, business owners don't care. They just care if the phone rings with qualified leads. And that's when I began to kind of evolve into, what we are today is completely full service, content, video, social, web, and anything that we can do to help a business make the phone ring, we do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really cool story about his website not being that great, but
it worked.
The ease of use, right? I feel like that's a thing that you see even big companies. You log on their website and trying to file a claim for the hurricane, right? It took me 20 minutes to find the button to file a claim. The first thing I found was 800 number. I'm like, you got to be able to do this online. So I'm searching. It's why? Sometimes the simplicity, right? Just kind of
that user experience is huge.
Exactly. I need it all right here. I just want to, and especially people now, they don't want to be bothered. They just want it to be one ABC 1 2 3.
Very quick. They don't want to deal with people either.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Or you lose them. I know it sucks. Not wanting to deal with people. I don't get that. I love people. Obviously.
I love people too, but it's time, right? Think about the time that the person on the other end is investing, picking up the phone and waiting on hold and going through prompts. No. Let's just make it simple.
Right. Let's get it done. All that. So, since then, what has been the most difficult part of growing it for you? Obviously you've grown. You started one-man band. How many people do you have now?
9 others. So there's 10 of us total.
Okay, 10 of us. So, what in that span of growing to that? What's been the most difficult aspect of getting that business off the ground from being in your car to now you've got amazing office, a team?
Man, The most difficult is hard to say, right? Because when you know, man, like when you run a business, it's all you, right? And you can have great people, but at the end of the day, you can't look to the left. The old saying. So
sure.
I don't know if I could put my finger on most difficult.
Okay.
I've definitely had difficult moments in terms of making the right decisions.
Sure.
Right. So I've been really fortunate in terms of I've always found really great team members. Been really blessed in that aspect, because I know a lot of businesses. I hear business owners like, "Oh, I can't hire people, or I got a lot of turnover." Never dealt with that, thank God. But
why do you think that is?
I never hire strangers, for one.
There you go.
Yeah, I've never hired off of an ad or anything like that. It's always been a referral from a trusted colleague, a referral from an existing team member. And I have a really, really long process. Javar Beatty.
Yeah.
Javar's been working with me for, 18 months or something like that. But it was probably 3 or 4 months where we were sitting and meeting and talking and just kind of getting to know each other and seeing, this is really a good fit.
Sure.
Right? Like, and I do that with everybody. It's a process.
Sure. Smart.
Yeah, it's worked out real well. Difficult. You know what? Just making sure that I'm making the right choices by the people that I'm serving, meaning the team members. I want what's best for them. I want them to grow, and I want them to enjoy their work. And so that means I've got to serve them. And so just making sure that I'm doing right by them. I remember the first couple of employees I had, I hovered.
Sure.
Oh, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it that way? And can't enjoy it.
Got to trust them.
Got to trust them, and let them do what you hired them to do. They bring a specific skill. They're good at it. They enjoy it. Let them flourish.
There you go.
Yeah.
If they're good at it, they enjoy it. In my experience, you're going to get more out of them, right?
Yeah.
And especially, I assume they're younger, most of them, right? And that you read things about the generations, and this generation, they don't want to be, I'm like on the tail end of that, where it's like, I don't like to be micromanaged at all. Like, tell me what you need done, tell me when you need it done by, and I'll do it. Right. It'll get done. And if it doesn't, then you can come at me.
Yeah. Right? If it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But most of the time you'll find out that it does. It's
That's
just like, get it done by this time. The process is whatever you got to do to get it done, right?
That's right.
And I think more and more people are flourishing in that environment. But you said something, that decisions have been the hardest part about it for you.
Yeah.
But I think that is a testament to your success, is that if the decisions were easy, they probably weren't the right ones. Right? Because the right decisions usually are like, oh man, you got to take that leap a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Is there a specific instance where you felt like one of the decisions was a leap? Those tough decisions where it was like, I'm going to take the leap here, where it was a risk, and you were like, this is worth the risk?
Maybe. Yeah, nobody's ever asked me that. I appreciate that question. I remember when we added video as a service that we offered.
Okay.
It's not something that you can, back then at least. I know now you can get a really good iPhone and you can start making content. Absolutely. If the content's good, right?
We're doing it right now.
That's right. Content, right? But I remember when we added it, like, I had to buy cameras, I had to buy lighting, I had to, backdrops, I had to buy furniture, I had to invest in somebody that knew how to do video.
Sure.
Videographer. I had to, make investments for production. It was a really, really big, hard pill to swallow, right? Like, I don't know if I should be doing this, but the market said that video was going to be, a crucial aspect of marketing.
Absolutely.
And it has been, right? So it was the right decision. But I remember looking at those
the cost.
Oh my gosh, like how much is this? For quality equipment.
Of course, yeah.
That was a really difficult decision. I don't know if it's team member based. Well, I guess, but
sure.
That was a tough one. Luckily it panned out.
But it paid off, right? Yeah. And now you think that, because obviously video content is...
We do a lot of video
everything
content.
now. Like, nobody wants to read, everybody wants to see the video.
Mm-hmm.
So that has paid off.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In a big way, I'm sure.
Yeah, it worked out.
Mm-hmm. What kind of like boom did you see? Did you see any kind of boom from that once you implemented that service?
Yeah, and some growing pains, figuring
Sure.
out how to offer it the right way, how to structure packages and things like that, making sure that our time is being compensated correctly. All those things just kind of had to be worked out, but within a year, we saw a big boom because now we're playing in this backyard where just video companies were playing in the past. But by the way, we can take that video and distribute it properly.
Right.
So we bring a whole new element, to the marketplace,
Sure.
and so we definitely saw a boom. I'll give you another one that come to mind.
Okay.
About 4 or 5 years in, I was still in the mode of taking on any project I could get.
Okay.
I was still in the mindset of the guy who started, where somebody wanted to give me money. Yes, I'll do that project.
Of course.
Which isn't a good way to run a business. You need to have good fits.
Sure.
It's got to be good for you, just like it's good for me.
100%.
And a mentor of mine said, you got to start spending your time where you're most valuable and taking on projects where they are perfect fits. And so I outlined what that was and wrote those things down and gave it all this thought, but then the execution of it, actually turning away business that would have been profitable, but would have been, in the long run, not a good fit for us.
Sure. You can say it's been a pain in the ass.
It's been a pain in the ass. Yeah, bro. That first 6 months was tough. It was really tough to turn that business away and trust that I was making the right long-term decision.
Sure.
But it was huge for us.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think that's an awesome lesson, because I have a lot of people that I work with that are always complaining about their customers, their clients, and these problems. And, knock on wood, I haven't experienced that myself because I kind of follow that same philosophy. It's I'm targeting people that I want to work with.
Right.
That I like. And if someone is disrespectful or difficult for certain, obviously I get it. We're not going to see eye to eye on everything. There's going to be bumps in the road, right? Yeah. But if I don't enjoy working with them myself, I don't need this from you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just not worth it.
Exactly.
Because life is too short. I want to have a good time.
You want to
enjoy my day.
Yeah. And you want them to work to want to work with you, right? That's one reason we don't do contracts. I want people to, month after month, to continue to want to work with us. And if they don't, that's okay. That's okay. Let's part as friends,
Yeah, that's really great. And so that kind of brings me back. I want to backtrack a little bit. So you are also a philanthropist here in the community. Always see you out and doing events, networking with people, obviously for more than business. But so you're on the board with the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? Did you originally do it to get into the community for your business, or was being part of the community something that you're passionate about?
Being part of the community is something I'm passionate about. It's been ingrained in me. I remember Mom taking me to taking me to the gospel mission in Cincinnati, feeding the homeless and stuff. But no, man, when I started Aginto, I was homeless myself. So as soon as I got an opportunity to give back.
So wait, you were working the night shift.
Oh, yeah.
And doing this business, and you were homeless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Interesting. We missed that little tidbit before. Okay, so that had to be a little difficult, But
a little difficult.
So you're just in your car.
It's in my car. Luckily, I had a car. A lot of people on the street, they don't even have a vehicle, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I spent a few weeks living in the car, and then I moved into the Whitfield Motel. If you're familiar with the area, it's over by the airport.
Yep. Is it still there?
I was over there a few months ago driving past, and I was like, there it is. Not the Ritz-Carlton.
No.
I'll say that.
No.
But it was a roof and a bed and a tiny refrigerator and a shower. And there were some things about the motel. I lived in the motel for about a year. So things about it that were just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's a laundromat next door, literally right next door. There was somebody in the neighborhood behind it that had Wi-Fi. Yeah. I don't know who you were, but shout out to you because it was unsecured, and I used that Wi-Fi, to work on my stuff, and I lived there for about a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so, I mean, that's amazing. And I think that definitely helps the drive, right? Of continuing to do what you're doing and continuing to want to grow and show up every day and play.
Yeah.
But also, I think so when you're working with the Salvation Army, when you're in the community, you know what these people are, you've personally gone through it.
Right. Yeah, I've eaten at the Salvation Army. So, like, when I started volunteering there, I just started working in the kitchen. You know, I felt just like this sense of fulfillment. And, you know, I remember I was probably 3 or 4 years in the business. I was just making enough to pay my bills.
Sure.
You know, that's about it. But this sense of, man, I was right over there just a few years ago. And, you know, wow, God is good. Like, look where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Still lots of ways to go. Still lots of ways to go today, right? But, like,
yeah.
I remember just being fulfilled and the opportunity to help and just be like a little rung on the ladder. So I did that for years.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the kitchen once, twice a week for a long time. And 2017, I won the Volunteer of the Year.
Oh, wow.
And they asked if I'd be interested in working on the board.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Sure. You
know? I love that.
Yeah, it was just to bring a new perspective, you know. Anybody that's been on nonprofit boards, it's usually successful or affluent or
sure.
Political positions, even judges and, you know, things like that. Mm-hmm. Great people.
Of course.
But they don't know anything about, you know, the life that I know. And so I was able to bring that perspective to the board. And 2020-ish, 2019, 2020, they asked if I'd be the chair.
That's awesome.
I've been the chair ever since.
That's really great. So what kind of work do you do over there as the chair? Like, what are you guys working on?
Sure. So we're being good stewards of the finances, first and foremost. But also just like different projects each year. We'll generally have 1 or 2 projects to help move the mission along. Right now we're really focused on expanding the women's shelter that we have.
Okay.
The family shelter, because we have this huge men's shelter. You know, I think we can house like 120 men a night.
Oh, wow.
And it's usually full, but the family shelter's a lot smaller. You know, the building was built in...
Interesting.
Yeah. The building was built in the 50s. So, you know, that's just kind of the way it was. Meaning the need in the community.
Sure, right.
You know, we're turning away, you know, women now because we're at capacity. And so it's a mission that we're really focused on, is expanding that family shelter right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's maybe a good thing that, I mean, it's a good thing you're expanding it, but it's also unfortunate that's the one you're having to expand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So going back a little bit too, you're homeless, you're in your car,
yeah.
You're at the motel.
Yeah.
Did you, I know you're a family man as well. Did you have, what was your family doing at this point? Were you married at this point? Okay.
I wasn't married at the time.
This was just you.
But if you want an idea of back against the wall, my daughter was born in 2011.
Okay.
So
wow.
It was, hey, you better do something. You better figure something out.
Right.
Right. So it had a little pressure, probably the kick in the pants I needed. But wasn't married, and, you know, obviously my daughter wasn't living with me in the car.
Right. No.
But
that was my next question.
She did stay, you know, a few nights in the motel.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
So, what has been your favorite part of the journey to this point?
Ooh. My favorite part of the journey I don't think anybody's ever asked me that.
Happy to do it again.
Favorite part of the journey.
Obviously, it's good to see success and
so many
grow and all these different things. But what's like the one? What is there a certain thing or a certain aspect, even if you want to broaden it a little bit, that's like every day you wake up and it's like, this is.
You know, I'm that guy. You know, I'm that guy that wakes up every day, like, and I'm just, man, I'm thankful for this pillow. I'm thankful for air conditioning. I'm thankful for coffee in the morning.
Yes.
You know, little things like that I audibly say.
Well, you have the perspective on it. I mean.
Yeah. You know, I'm just grateful. Favorite thing outside of just saying literally today, right?
Right.
I've been able to start taking sabbaticals.
Okay.
And And that has been really cool. Because I love getting out of town with my wife. I love going to see, spend time out of town with my daughter, or, taking the family here or there. Those things are great. I really enjoy those things. But the sabbatical is just me. It's a few days by myself away, and it's been good for my mentals. It's been really positive.
I think a lot of guys can relate to that. Sometimes it's nice to just be alone. I know everybody likes that, but I feel like as fathers and as you're working all the time, we're almost workaholics, business owners. It's nice to just be like in silence, right? Like I get that in the car a lot of times. I'm just like turn off the radio and just sit in silence on the drive sometimes, just to just to be alone, and I get it from time to time. The car, I like to golf alone, so I get that. Oh yeah.
But like, just the ability to walk away from the business for 3-4 days. Would have never thought years ago, A, that I needed it, or B, that it was possible. But got a great team, and we prep. Hey, I'm gonna be gone. Let y'all leave me alone. We prep ahead of time. It's once a year, and I just did my second year, so just the ability to get away from the business and leave it in trusted hands, because it's my baby.
Yeah, of course.
I'm really grateful for.
So what do you do on the sabbatical? Where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah, I watch movies.
Okay.
I watch movies. I love movies.
What kind of movies? What's your favorite kind of movie?
I love like a good crime story, like a whodunit.
Okay. Yeah.
Favorite flick is Lucky Number 11.
Yeah, great movie.
You know this?
Absolutely.
Nobody knows this
great movie.
I love it.
Yeah, that was one of the last movies I ever rented from a Blockbuster.
Oh,
actually.
Man. That's what's up. Love it.
Great movie. Very underrated.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Like watch movies, golf, and I think I do spend some time being grateful.
Do you go out of town? Like where you?
Usually I'll just go to like siesta.
Okay.
I want to be close enough. Like my family needs me.
Sure.
But just to get out there and kind of do what I see non-business owners, like they leave work, they clock out, and they go home, and in some cases they don't have to think about work.
Right.
Pros and cons, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like they don't have to think about
There's
work.
some days I think about that. Like that'd be nice just to be.
Wouldn't that be nice?
When it's done, I could just turn it off.
Just take the weekend and I'm out.
Right. I do that anyway, but don't tell anybody.
I wish.
No.
The things that I would do if I could take the weekend completely off and just do whatever I want, at whenever time I want.
Right.
I take naps. I love naps. I take naps.
Yep.
Like just little things like that. Snaps. I'm not climbing Mount Everest. I'm not, hiking the Appalachian. I'm just sitting on my butt for a change.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Look, I say that all the time to people, like, whether it's at the grocery store, I'm like, but what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. And that is like one of my favorite and one of the most underrated things you can do is nothing.
Yes. just absolutely nothing. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to watch the clock.
Right.
Like
sometimes it's weird. You're like sitting there and you almost feel like guilty. It's why I can't play video games anymore. I used to love playing video games.
Yeah.
But at some point, I sit down to play a video game. I haven't played an actual video game. I play with the daughters and stuff like Nintendo Switch because it's got all like the N64 style stuff. But like before, when like in college and stuff, when it was Call of Duty and all that kind of stuff, I used to probably like till 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
Right? Be playing sit down at night and play some Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
And now I sit down and all in my head I'm just like, you're a piece of shit. You could be furthering your business right now. You could be doing this. Like, you know what I mean? You just like get all this guilt about, I'm like, God, I can't play this video game.
It's
true.
You know
what I mean? You got to grow up, like all this kind of stuff.
It's true.
It's hard.
Because you think about, well, how much am I leaving on the table?
Somebody else is doing something right now that they're getting ahead.
That's so true. Mm-hmm. I remember when I moved into where we are now on Fruitville Road like 10 years ago, there was a competitor in that space, and I would have to walk past their door to get to my little tiny suite. Right? Like I'd have to walk right past them to get there and to leave. And if I left at 6 o'clock and their lights were on, I would often turn around. Like,
really? Yeah.
okay, all right, I'm gonna go back in here and do some more work because like there's somebody else actively working.
It's a sickness.
Yeah, but it works, man. It works. It's that motivation that you need.
Mm-hmm. But then like you said, but sometimes you do step away.
Yeah.
And you don't think about it and you just do nothing. It actually comes back to like I get my best ideas for stuff when I'm not thinking about anything like that. When I'm off thinking about something else.
It just pops in your head.
Pops in your head when you're sitting there trying to find a solution.
It's hard.
It's like it's not there, like, or whatever's going on. You're trying to find this thing, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm just gonna forget about it for now. I'm gonna go and be with my kids, or I'm gonna, we're gonna go to Disney on Friday, and then it's like, I get so many ideas. Also driving home. There's just like, you're listening to the radio, and all of a sudden it's like,
it just pops in your head.
Idea, right?
I could see that.
Back when I was doing a lot of music all the time, like I never sat down with the music playing and wrote lyrics, right? It was always like driving down the road, listening to another song, and I would get ideas for lyrics, and I'd literally be sitting there, with the knee on the steering wheel trying to type the idea down before I forgot, and then you go and you make it work. But it never happened like, okay, I got to sit down and get this, and I got to do this. Creativity, which is a huge part of building a business. Yeah. It just doesn't work that way.
No. As much as we'd like to.
Yeah, you cannot force it. Creativity.
And I do a lot with like the young leaders and stuff like that, and the proper way to start a business is to write out your business plan and write out your marketing strategy. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a lot to be said for that.
Sure.
But I also think moving fast and breaking stuff, as Zuckerberg said, you know what I mean, is not a bad way either, because I think that you're more creative that way. You're just executing. You're an operator. Mm-hmm. And I think you can get further faster by being an operator.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
Do, start, go. You can do the business plan as you go, because it's going to evolve anyway.
It's going to change.
It's always, we talked about it earlier, now you're offering video and social media and doing all that stuff. That wasn't as huge a thing when you started in 2011. There was social media. I'm going to market on social media. Right. What are you talking about?
I'm going to use AI? What is AI?
Right, exactly.
No.
Is that something you guys are doing a lot now? How much of it has that come into play in your business, the AI?
Oh, it's been huge.
Yeah?
Oh, it's been huge, man. Yeah, I mean, we're not using it for, like, content per se. Mm-hmm. Well, I should say that. Some, not long-form content.
Okay.
It's still not as good as, like, a real, genuine, human, educated writer. But if I need to develop a tweet or an Instagram caption or whatever, it'll develop content for that quick.
Yep.
So that saves us time. But we're using it as like a research assistant on steroids.
Right.
We use it every single day.
Yeah, same here. I use it all the time for this and that, or or even if you have an idea and you want to, like you said, expand. If you have a caption and you want to, you can expand upon this. You know.
Yeah. It gives you ideas that you're not even. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
So, we took on this client that sells homogenizers.
Okay.
You know what a homogenizer is?
I don't.
Okay. I can't lie. Neither do I. Okay. I know some of the things it does. But
somebody leave a comment on what these things do.
Help us out here. Now, I knew that it had a big part of the milk process.
Okay, that's where my head went. I wasn't sure if that's what.
Okay, dairy. All right, cool. So I fly up, see this guy, tour the factory, see all the stuff. I'm like, great. Spend like 2 hours there. I leave, and I get in my car. I'm like, I don't know squat about homogenizers still.
Yeah.
So, and that happens in my industry. We take on even like a roofer. Like, okay, well, I got to figure out, what they do and who they help and all that. It might seem...
You have to be like an auxiliary roofer.
Yeah, you got to figure it out. Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. That research would ordinarily take a couple of days. Sit down and research what does a homogenizer do and who does it serve and who might be interested. I did all of it in 20 minutes on CarPlay using chat on my way back to the airport.
Wow.
All of the research. Literally, like, it gave me who it serves, additional people I had not thought of, like that.
Wow, okay.
Pharmaceutical companies would use homogenizers and why, and
interesting.
all the stuff that I would need to do on my own, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like a research assistant on steroids.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's also, there's scary aspects to it too, and there's always that talk. I've talked to people about it, like it's gonna steal all these jobs and it's gonna do all this stuff for it. But I think it's gonna enhance a lot of jobs people do, and you're gonna get more done. And honestly, for me, I don't need to work 25/8, right? That's not me.
Right.
I want to get the job. I want to get done what I have to get done, and then go live my life, because living my life to me is more important than work.
That's right.
Ultimately, I love work. I love doing the work.
Yeah.
But when it's done, it's done. I don't need to sit here and, I didn't work for 9 hours today, so I'm a failure.
Yeah. No, I mean, the goal is to work until you don't have to work.
Exactly.
Right. So like, why not? Yeah.
Exactly. So once it's done, if I can do it, what I need to do in 2-3 hours in a day and be done, that's fine with me.
Right.
And I feel like AI kind of, like you say, gives that opportunity. You've been sitting there doing research for 2 days. Right. Trying to find all the information. You're like, 20 minutes. Done. I got everything I need. Now we can break it down, and it'll even break it down for you. Be like, all right, take all this and put it on bullet points.
Yes.
And I feel like that's going to help a lot of people have more quality of life. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it makes
in the long term.
Well, yes, but there's the other side of it that now people are gonna look. I get 2 to 3 times the output of. Very sorry. Make sure that's not an emergency. I get 2 to 3 times the output from my team that I did 24 months ago because of AI. Right.
There you go.
Could I look at them and say I need 6 times more? Yeah, I probably could. And there's probably organizations out there that are going to expect more and push more and pay less.
Sure.
Compensate less or whatever. So there's that downside of it. And
greedy people.
Yeah. And it will take jobs, unfortunately.
Right.
I mean, 2 years ago I was thinking about hiring an assistant. All the duties that person would have done, AI now does for me.
Yeah.
So that's a job that somebody could have had.
But that's already happening in other things.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's creating opportunities for new jobs that we haven't even thought of yet.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, who's running the AI right now?
That's the scary.
Where's that person?
Yeah. The robots that came out last week, I was like,
that was wild. I'm like, okay. I've seen iRobot, and I know how this turns out.
They look just like them.
It's the same thing. It's like not even trying to hide it. I'm like, I know where this goes.
Even the little vans, it looks just like them.
Eventually you're going to save us from ourselves, and it's not going to be good.
It's not going to be good. I don't want to be a prisoner or something.
Yeah, they're like, $30,000, you can have this thing and babysit your kids. I'm like,
but think about it.
My kids
but think about this. Think about this.
Okay.
$30,000. What would you hire an assistant to work in here full time? What would you pay them? 50?
Yeah.
55?
True.
Okay.
They need breaks.
They need
benefits.
Right. They
I'm
get
sure
distracted.
these things need maintenance.
Yeah, but they're not going to stop and text.
Right. That's true. And you don't have, and you could just, for something work related, I think it's, for something like that, great.
Huge.
But, or going to the grocery store for me,
bro,
that's phenomenal.
Can you imagine being at Publix and the guy behind you is a robot?
Yeah. I would never be at Publix again. I'd be like, it's going to be all robots. Just shot.
Yeah, but it's only robots.
People don't do those things anymore.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads us. Do you ever see WALL-E, that Disney movie?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
It is.
The end of the movie, it shows the people, and they're all like in floating inner tubes, and they've lost the ability to walk through evolution. Like that's.
It's conceivable. Like this is the way that we. You said I'm never going to be at Publix because the robot will go for me. But how long before there's no cashiers? How long before there's
That's already there.
Right. How long before there's no guy stocking the shelves? Like, it's.
Yeah. Where does it stop? Right. And then what do people do?
Yeah. What do
probably
people do?
Probably not our lifetime, but.
I think our lifetime.
You think?
Yeah.
That robots take it over? That whole.
I don't know about take it over.
Service industry.
Yeah, I remember talking to a guy, it's about a year ago, and they were using AI to map roofs. Okay, so like every house is just, just a little bit different than the next. Even if it's, you're buying like a model home and it's this version and that elevation and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's still a little bit different than your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys were using, video and AI to map all these different roof styles and they were going to eventually sell that data stack, that tech stack, to a company that had devices or machines that could come in and do, your re-roof
Very
or
cool.
your roof maintenance or repair with a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's gonna happen in our lifetime where all them service jobs are, robots. The more unique, certainly the longer. But
which is interesting because I was reading the other day, I think it was yesterday, that the service industry now, that is becoming the class of the millionaires, is the plumbers and the electricians and millennial and this next generation of kids. They're rather than going to college and getting in debt to be whatever, right. they're going to trade school.
They'll learn to trade,
and then they're starting this business. So why, if this is where it's going with the robots? I mean, where's the line for that?
Yeah. What'll happen, this is my opinion,
mm-hmm.
They'll start their plumbing business,
mm-hmm.
and they'll deploy
robots,
tech to do those things. But at some point, somebody's going to start a business. At the end of the day, who can sell it to me for cheaper? Because their overhead is cheaper. That's what we'll get back to, which that happens right now. Right? But it's inevitable. It's an inevitable conclusion.
Unfortunately, I agree with you that it is inevitable. How quickly it happens, I don't know. And then what kind of regulations get slapped on it, and when it starts becoming,
it's the wild, wild west right now.
Right, exactly. All the AI is. You even seen that commercial with was it Matthew McConaughey, where he's literally in the Wild West and it's all AI stuff. Like, that's what it is right now. But eventually,
mm-hmm.
they're gonna regulate the shit out of it.
They will.
And
they did the same thing with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
It was the wild, wild west for a while.
Thank God for Elon.
Yeah.
Setting it free again.
Yeah. We'll see.
That's like the only place to go anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the AI thing is very interesting. I think it's very cool. But the actual physical robots thing, that's when it gets crazy for me. Like the AI thing, okay, that's cool. We can manage this.
Mm-hmm.
But robots doing everything that I need to do and basically being a servant 24/7 for me is a little crazy to think about.
When I saw it, I thought, because my ultimate goal is to live somewhere far away from people. I love people, but far away.
That's the dream.
And be sustainable. Well, how long is it gonna take me to farm this land or to grow that or to? If I had somebody that could do that for me, okay.
But then what do you do?
I chill and I watch movies.
I chill. Nothing.
Watch
we
movies,
talked about full circle. Nothing.
That's the goal. I want to watch movies all day.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, man.
I get it. But then there's that piece of me that it's like, yeah, I want to watch a movie. I love doing nothing. Don't get me wrong. But then there's a piece of me too. I actually did probably almost a year where I downgraded my phone, and I had the little tiny iPalm or whatever it was called. It was this little tiny phone, a little bit bigger than an Apple Watch.
Really?
And it was Android's version of, if you don't want to wear a watch, you can just carry it in your pocket as an ancillary device, and it only makes calls and texts and emails.
Okay.
And I switched to that as my main phone. I did not have a big phone. I had that. It was a couple inches long, and that was my little phone. And it could text, and I could look at my email, and I could get calls. Right? The battery didn't last that long, and that was the downside to it. And the service was sometimes a little more spotty than the bigger phones, so there were downsides to that. But no social media, nothing like that, and I was just literally, if I wasn't getting a call or a text, I wasn't on my phone because I couldn't do anything. And this was 2021, so it wasn't very long ago.
No.
And I got to tell you, I felt so much. I'm a very spiritual person. I felt so connected.
Wow.
To everything around me, and I was so much easier to just be present in the moment and to be outside and to just sit and not. I didn't have I didn't even want to I love football, that's huge. I love it.
Yeah.
And I barely even cared. I got to this point where I barely even cared about it. It just seemed like I didn't want to sit in front of the TV.
You were so productive, weren't you?
I was so productive. But that's the thing, and it just felt like there were times I remember where it felt like such connection to just everything that it was like I was underwater.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I mean? Where it's I'm underwater and I can feel I feel like there was an empty space between me and the trees, or me and this and this other person. Yeah. It's like we were connected. The water was there. We were connected. Like, it was amazing. Unfortunately, for my job and stuff, I was teaching tennis at the time, and I missed a few client calls. All this kind of stuff kind of affected that a little bit. So I was like, okay, I got to go back. And slippery slope, man. Yeah, it's a slippery slope. But I'll tell you what, it was incredible. The lack of technology and how it affected me. Yeah, it's
a real thing.
Yeah, but honestly, since then though, I've been a much happier person, and it's made me a lot more mindful, and I still feel more connected than I did beforehand. Yeah. So going on those sabbaticals, I highly recommend to people. I'm gonna stop talking and let you talk, but I highly recommend to people disconnecting for a period of time. Yeah. And really just doing that, like say, hey, or if it's just the weekend, like I'm gonna take this weekend and I'm putting the phone in a drawer. Yeah. Right? I'm not gonna have anything. I'm not gonna turn on the TV. Bro. It's hard.
It's so hard.
But then once you break the habit, though, you're like, I don't need this.
No, you don't. And I mean, so I use the focus modes. Okay. On my iPhone. So like 100%. When I get to the office, it knows to go into it's Aginto mode. It's called. Okay. So no text, no calls, no social media updates. Unless my wife or my daughter or whatever, my mom. So I use those to kind of keep it over here, but it is over here. Yeah. And inevitably I'll grab it and be like, oh, Devontae Adams got traded. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Well, what else? What else happened? Little stuff like that. I could see it slippery slope.
Yeah, and you're just right back into it. You know what I mean? And it's really crazy how that happens. I mean, that's what they want to have happen.
Yeah, that's what they want.
It's all designed to keep attention, right? This is your business. That's my business. Keeping attention and all that. So to kind of wrap it up a little bit, if you could send someone out there that's struggling, they're just starting out, maybe they're in a similar situation to you were in, they're sleeping in a motel and they got this great idea and they're trying to build. What is your message, or what is the one thing that you would tell them that they should do in order to give them the best chance of success?
Two things.
Okay.
So first, all that you can do it. Oh, yeah, that's true, but you got to execute. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't just like. I found that like there's a connection in the human brain, or a similarity in the human brain to writing down what you're going to do, and the dopamine hit that you receive when you complete writing these plans down. I'm going to do these things. You get this dopamine hit. It's very similar to the dopamine hit that you get when you actually do them. Mm-hmm. So what happens is a lot of people, they make these grand plans, they get that dopamine hit, and they don't execute. You got to execute. Tactically, man. Not that we didn't have these guys in 2011. They never thought about this, how many contacts are in your phone right now?
Oh, geez. Let's just have this number forever.
Let's just chase this rabbit here. 2,151 contacts.
How do I even look at the number?
All the way at the bottom.
All the way at the bottom. Oh, here we go. Yeah, 1,272.
All right. Safe to say for both of us, 50% of those we don't need anymore.
Right. But majority.
Let's just say 1,000 people. Had I known and thought about this in 2011, I would have texted all 1,000 people in that thing and said, hey, good to, been a long time since I've seen you. Hope you're well. Yada, yada, yada. I'm going to start a business doing X. Mm-hmm. This is the key. I would not ask for a sale. Right. Okay. I would not sell, because that's how you start. That's how you get uninvited to the barbecue. Right. Like, I would say, I'm thinking about, or I'm beginning the business doing X. It would mean a lot to me if you know somebody that has a need that I can help with. Please feel free to give them my contact information. They can call, text, and let me know that you sent them. I'd appreciate it. Take care. That's it. No sale, no nothing. Yeah. Just like that. And I guarantee you send that out to 1,000 people, I guarantee you're going to get some people that are like buzz off. Guarantee you're going to get, oh, that's cool. I'll make sure to do that. They won't. But you'll get at least a few dozen that do send you.
You think that many?
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say 24. Let's say 30 people.
I'd be psyched if I got 30.
Bro, if you think about it,
yeah,
those are individuals that you probably had a good relationship with. Maybe you don't talk to as much anymore. But if you just reached out and said, "Hey, I'm doing this. I'm betting on myself," it would mean a lot if you would refer somebody or think of me when somebody brings up this industry. Thanks, take care. Yeah, you're going to get some opportunities. And then execute. Turn 1 to 2 to 5 to 10 to 20 clients, and you're off and racing. Like
Done.
that. That's what I would say.
I love it.
Yeah.
Execute and follow through.
That's it. Yeah, man. That's
I love it. Well, any last words for anybody listening? Anything, any message you want to get? Plug yourself. Where can we find you? Where can we use your services if we have a business?
Sure, you can find us at aginto.com. It's AGINTO. We're in Sarasota, Florida, and we help businesses with anything digital marketing related. That means SEO and web dev and video and social and reputation management, photography, all that stuff. I always say if Google comes along and says that herding cattle will influence search rankings, we'll learn how to do that too. So like whatever it takes. And on the volunteer side, I'm always looking for new volunteer initiatives.
Great.
So if it's a nonprofit and they've got something I can get involved with, reach out.
That's great. I think you just spoke at Sertoma where I'm
I did.
a little bit involved. And,
Great group.
Yeah, really great people doing some amazing things. Currently working on some pivots and things like that.
Yeah.
And I love it. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. Please comment, follow, like, all that fun stuff that I don't like to talk about. But you can follow me at Aaron, your realtor. And I hope you enjoyed listening. Chris, thank you so much again for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
Until
it.
next time, folks. Peace out.